How will these changes be taken by those observers and the markets who are following Boeing's safety standards?
I think it's very much the right thing to do. I don't think it's unexpected given the recommendations that you did see from that Boeing board committee that was created to review Boeing's oversight and organization in the wake of those two fatal crashes of the 737 MAX. I think what those accidents have taught us is that perhaps engineering was not as much at the forefront of Boeing's culture as it used to be and as it should be. And so these strike me as steps to sort of reinforce that focus. This committee is going to have a direct line to the board aerospace safety committee that's tasked with sort of reviewing Boeing's practices in this regard. It also, they report up to the chief engineer, which I think also will help sort of take out the bureaucracy and reinforce the focus on safety and ensure that this doesn't necessarily get bogged down in the other concerns that are understandably on the heads of the top divisions.
What does it say to Boeing's business? Because we are now seeing the stock plunge 1.6% at the one point, which is the session's low.
I think that there was a debate about how many changes that Boeing would make in the wake of some of these crises. And I think what's been interesting is that the share price really hasn't been under as pressure as maybe you might have expected following two fatal crashes of such a marquee product. And I think what's given investors some comfort is that Boeing is in a duopoly in the commercial aerospace market. And airlines don't want to put all of their business with Airbus because that will result in Airbus having too much pricing power. So that does sort of insulate Boeing from the kind of true economic pain that you might see that would force a company to make deep-rooted cultural changes. To see Boeing taking a step back, saying we know that we need to improve our oversight, improve our organizational structure, suggests that they know that they're in for a tougher process from the FAA going forward. And I think you're seeing that regulators want to be more robust in their review process. There's certainly pressure for that from different branches of the government across the world. And I think that that's what you're going to see. And so for Boeing investors, that likely means delays in some of these product rollouts going forward, and also perhaps less of an emphasis on cash flow than we've historically seen from the company over the past couple of years.
Brooke, it seems, sticking with that point, it seems that when you take a step back and you look at this, that they are weathering this controversy somewhat well. And there doesn't seem to be as contentious of back and forths between Boeing and members of Congress, for example, that we've seen in other industries, most notably tech, no?
Well, we haven't really had an opportunity for that yet. So the Boeing CEO hasn't testified in front of Congress. So
he's staying away from this town.
We'll see how contentious it gets. But that will be interesting. I mean, certainly when you did have the executives from the FAA and the NTSB, Congress did not hold back in going pretty aggressively after these regulators, asking, why did we miss this? Why were we the last country to ground the plane? Because, of course, remember that China and Europe moved more aggressively to say, we need to figure out what's going on here before we allow consumers to continue flying on these planes. So still a lot of questions circling around that. And I don't know that they're going to take it easy on Dennis Muilenburg when he does, in fact, appear in front of Congress in October.